A lot of you guys, you call or text me and basically you're saying, what the hell do I do? How do we buy a house? You know, we bought a house in Texas, we know how that goes, or we bought a house in the Carolinas or Florida, we know how that goes. But how do you buy a house in the Rochester and Finger Lakes region? It's different. We're an attorney state, so there's a lot of different things that go on. The process is typically longer for you guys. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. That being said, today I'm going into the ultimate guide to buying a house in the Rochester and Finger Lakes region. Both of these regions, it's going to be the same exact process to actually buying a house. In this video, I'm going to be going over that from A to Z. So if you have any questions during it, feel free to type them in the comments or reach out to me at the information provided on the screen right there. But without further ado, getting right into it, the first thing that I would say to do is reach out via text or email or call me, and basically we can set up a Zoom call. I like to do Zoom calls, that way we can kind of get face to face. And then we can situate from there kind of what you're looking for, what your wants and needs are, and we can go through the process again in a Zoom call. But really, I like to establish the rapport. I like to get face to face with you guys and really get to understand your situation. You know, how many people are in your family? Do you guys have kids? Do you have dogs? Like, what is going on in your situation, so then I can better understand and find houses that suit you and your situation, as well as mortgage programs, etc., that might better fit you guys, right? So in this Zoom call, that's the stuff that we're going over. We're also going to be planning a time for you guys to possibly come out and see a few houses. Now, ideally, you would be here for all of your houses, all the houses that you want to see. You would see everything before you put an offer in on it. That being said, as much as we love doing that, as much as you would love doing that, sometimes it's not feasible depending on where you're coming from, what your situation is. You might have to work or whatever, right? So what we've gotten very comfortable doing is doing showings through Zoom calls. Now, it's a little bit scary, especially being on the buyer side, right? You're buying this, you know, $200,000 to $1 million product that maybe you've never stepped foot in, and that's a scary thought. You know, what if maybe this real estate agent doesn't have my best interest in mind, and you know, I'm putting all my trust in this person, and you know, it's a scary thing. What if something goes wrong, right? So something that we do to mitigate that, obviously, so we're going to Zoom call, we're going to FaceTime you, and we're going to be showing you through the house as if I would be showing you if you were in person, right? So that helps you to see all the things that are going on in the house, the layout, you know, what have you. And what I like to do personally is I like to actually point out the things that are actually wrong with the house. So I'll be showing you cracks in the foundation. I'll be showing you cracks in the drywall or the ceiling or the taping, or, you know, all these other things, maybe flooding in the backyard, or all these things that might concern you, as well as how it feels with the space in the house. Sometimes I can get measurements for you to see if it'll fit your furniture. I know that's an important thing. But if I can't get measurements for you, I will tell you exactly how I feel in the house. If it feels tight, I'm going to tell you that. If it's big and spacious, I'm going to tell you that too. And you can be confident that it's going to be honest, because the last thing I want is for you guys to move here, me be responsible for you guys buying a house, and it end up being a piece of shit, or you just hating the house because it wasn't exactly how I described it. So I'm trying to be as honest with you as possible so that you can get a real feel for how the house actually is. In addition to FaceTiming or Zoom calling during the showing, I also like to bring a inspector through the showing with me. Now, listing agents really don't like this, so I got to request permission. I got to kind of go through this process, but that's on my end. I like to bring an inspector with me, somebody I know, like, and trust, who I know isn't an alarmist. They're not giving every little thing where, you know, it's like tic-tac things that cost $6 here, $7 here. Like, not that. Anything that you should be concerned about, he's telling you. Also, on the camera, he's going to be kind of coaching you through the house. Hey, here are your shutoff valves. Here is how we should expose these wires or these pipes or whatever to better access them in the future. This attic is not insulated. Maybe we should blow some insulation in there. Like, different things the inspector is going to be going through, because I know one of the biggest things that makes people feel comfortable is a property inspection, a home inspection. And depending on where you're coming from, most other states in the United States, you're going to be able to get a property inspection. In this market, in the Rochester and Finger Lakes market, it is not that common to be able to get a property inspection. We don't have a due diligence period here, right? So the property inspection will have to go down as a contingency if you want it during the process. So to kind of kill two birds with one stone, we're bringing the inspector during the initial walkthrough so that you can get a warm and fuzzy on that house, knowing that there's nothing wrong with the house or nothing significant with that house, and we're comfortably checking off a contingency on that offer so that if we do decide to write an offer, we don't have to write in a contingency for the inspection, and therefore we already look better than a lot of other offers if those other offers have contingencies for the inspection. So two birds with one stone there. It's a great idea to have this inspector come through. He costs like $100 per like walkthrough. So ideally, we can go through 2 times. If I show you guys one time without the inspector and then you want me to get back in, you say, hey, bring the inspector through with you. Let's take a look with him. Let's make sure everything is safe and sound, and kind of go from there. Then we can pay the $100. That way we're not paying it every single time we go through a new house and just wasting money at that point, even if you didn't like it, right? So that'd be silly. So that's how we kind of do that. And that's how we get around that contingency of having the inspection. Now, if we, after we see some houses, say you decide you want to offer on a house, right? That would be the next process. Now, actually, before I get into that, let's talk about what is going on in this market. So most houses you will see a standard of say 4 to 7 days on the market, right? So if you look at statistics on how long houses are lasting on the market, it's going to be 4 to 7 days. Now, that's a good thing for a buyer for a couple different reasons, but for you guys relocating, that 4 to 7 days, we're doing what are called delayed negotiations. Delayed negotiations are where you list the house hypothetically on a Monday. The following Monday, you're going to review all offers. So Monday to Monday, you have time to go see the house as many times as you need to feel comfortable with that house. So what that does for you guys is, say a house comes on the market on Monday, maybe if you're in this position, you can book a flight or schedule a drive to come in by Wednesday or Thursday or something to come see the house. If I do an initial walkthrough and you guys like it over FaceTime, you can come in, you can see it in person. But additionally, so it allows you the time, but then on the negative side, it pents up competition, right? So on that 7th day, or whenever offers are due, all the offers are coming in at once. So there's gonna be probably 4, 5, 10 offers maybe. So that's why waiving that contingency for the inspection is important, because we've already got it done. But if you decide that you're going to want to offer, it's going to come in on that last day of delayed negotiations, okay? So I am going to have to do the due diligence at, hey, what can this house realistically go for? What do the comparables say, right? What is the market in that local area doing? Everything here is hyper local. So I will look into that. I will also be giving the agent a call. I'll be calling them probably 3 days before offers are due, and then another day before offers are due, and then the day that offers are due, just to see what traffic has been like, how many offers they're anticipating, and kind of how we can structure our offer based on what their sellers care about, whether it's just price or if it's terms or if it's closing day or whatever. We can structure our offer to better suit their needs so that we're more likely to get our offer accepted. So, come the day of offers, I will call them, hey, how many offers are you looking at? Just to reiterate, last time we spoke, you said these things were the most important. Is that still the case? Yes? Okay, cool. So we're going to write up the offer. The offer is going to include things like, obviously, the money that you're going to want to put forward. So one of the really weird things about this market, because of competition, agents are listing houses pretty low, right? So say a house is listed at $300,000, you might be seeing that house sell for $370, $380, right? Realistically, that house should have been listed around $350 or $360, but it's neither here nor there. I've had my battles with this before, but so don't be surprised if you see that. That doesn't mean you're overpaying for the house. It just means that the listing strategy was, getting more people in there, So we're going to have to come up with an escalation clause, which basically says, hey, say you want to offer up to $350, house is listed at $300. We're going to say, hey, we're offering $300, and we're going to escalate by $5,000 above and beyond the next highest offer up until the max amount of $350,000. So that means if an offer comes in, the next highest offer is at $330,000, then you'll get it at $335,000, right? I do $5,000 because that's enough typically for a seller to be like, okay, $5,000, that's a significant difference. They want it more, so let's go with them, right? Versus some agents do $1,000. That's kind of silly. No seller is gonna choose $1,000 additional over certain terms that might be preferable for them, right? So the idea is that we structure our terms, our price, and our earnest money to benefit the seller. Now, earnest money is basically your skin in the game. Now, this is money that you're gonna put forward within 2 days of acceptance of the offer. And this money says, hey, if we as the buyers breach the contract in any way, shape, or form that is not in the contract, then we forfeit this money to you. Now, if you're a serious buyer, you really like the house, do as much money as you're comfortable doing. I've had clients do upwards of $85,000 or $90,000 in earnest money. I've had clients do $1,000 in earnest money. I would not recommend going on that low side. I would not. A seller is going to look at that number and honestly, they're going to laugh just because that doesn't show them that you're very serious. If you walk away and you lose $1,000, to most people, yeah, you don't want to lose $1,000, but that's not the end of the world for most people, right? Now, if you put up $20,000 or $50,000, that's a pretty big deal. That tells the sellers you won't be walking away unless something significant happens to the house or during the process, right? In which case, if it's covered by the contract, something like an inspection or a mortgage contingency or the final walkthrough, you can then get your money back. You'll then get that $20,000 or $50,000 back. But if you're a serious buyer and you know that you're not walking away just because you have a change of heart, then I would put up as much as you can because it shows exactly how strong you are as a buyer and how confident you are that you want this house, how bought into this house you are, and how serious you are. So it looks a lot better the more money you put down, right? So I know it's kind of a scary thing. There are ways to legally get out of the contract though, although I don't recommend it, but there are ways. So those are conversations we can have during the Zoom call or in person if you want. About that kind of process, but the more earnest money, the better. So we're talking about terms being inspection contingency, mortgage contingency, what type of mortgage it is. We're talking about closing date, rather, how long is the contract going to be, and then earnest money. Those are the things we're looking at in the contract, right? If the property has a well and septic, I would always recommend a septic and well inspection. Now, those two inspections combined might cost a total of $1,000. In my opinion, it's well worth it because if you have a well that isn't refilling or it's slow to refill or the water has E. coli or the well is too close to the septic, so it has E. coli and all sorts of other bacteria in it. Those are significant things. That means you won't have drinking water. That means maybe if you're taking a shower that's longer than 5 minutes and you'll run out of water, or if your septic has cracks in it and it's contaminating the ground because now you got fecal matter all over the place. All these crazy things can happen with these different things, well and septic. So I would always recommend getting it pumped and cleaned and inspected for both of those. And so those are two contingencies I would always recommend, but those are things that are going to be factored in when you're offering on a house. Now, you can always, I will recommend that the buyer cover those inspections, right? I would always recommend that. But, and that's just because it looks better from a seller's perspective that you're serious about this, you want it, but you're willing to pay for it. And that they don't have to come out of pocket. So again, it's just advantageous to the seller. They're more likely to accept your offer that way. So those are the contingencies. Once, say they offer or they accept your offer, they go through the contingencies. If you need the inspection, if we decide that we're going to do an inspection, we will go through that. We will hire an inspector and we'll go through that, right? Same with the well and septic inspection. Beyond that, then you're waiting for the mortgage if you're financed, right? If you're not buying cash, then you're financed. If you are cash, then you're just waiting on the attorneys. The attorneys have to do the abstract and title search. And normally, generally speaking, the fastest we can get things done in this area is roughly 30 days. That's going to be your fastest close. The fastest close I've ever had was about 28 days. So I would never write a contract for less than that, just because it's not going to happen. The attorneys have already confirmed many times it's not happening. Usually it might take a little bit longer than that, 35 to 40 days, 45 days possibly. So, there's no point to writing something in for 15 days like some of these other states, or I know like in California or Colorado, they can close in a week. We can't do that here. So realistically, from contract, the time it gets accepted till closing, you're looking at realistically 30 to 45 days or so. I would just probably ballpark 35 days, just because I'm always writing in a 30-day contract. If it goes a little bit over, fine, but I'd rather push the attorneys to get things done faster, rather than to allow them 60 days and let them kind of drag their feet, because they will. They're attorneys, they're busy, they do their thing, whatever, right? So we go through that period, and closing will be 30 days. Now, during that period, there's a few things like I said, the title and abstract search and all this kind of stuff. The attorney approval will be realistically the next step. That's just the attorneys calling you saying, hey, do you understand the contract? Do you have any questions on this? Here's some quick observations I've made already. Is this your actual name, your legal name? Is it spelled correctly? Whatever. Like easy stuff like that, right? They'll write the approval, and then we'll move on from there. If you are mortgaged, the mortgage company will be requiring a few documents from you. This is just going to be your income documents, any stocks, bonds, whatever that you have, investment accounts, things like that. Any other debt you have. So they're just going to be working to finally fund this mortgage. And again, that'll take anywhere from 14 to 30 days. So honestly, that is just about the whole process. If I'm going to pick out a hardest part, the hardest part is going to be the offering process. It's going to be looking at homes, and it's going to be offering. There's going to be a few times you're going to get declined. Your offer will not be chosen. That's okay. The way I look at this, and the way I try and talk to my buyers about it, is if it's meant to be, it'll be. If whatever you believe in, whether it's the universe or God or whatever, if it's meant to be, it will be. The only thing you can do is put your best foot forward, and I'm not afraid to submit lowball offers. I'm not afraid to ask certain questions or whatever. But in this market, we are like the hottest market in the United States. So therefore, you have to be competitive. Unfortunately, the days are gone where you can come in and you can kind of lowball, I guess, right? And also get seller concessions and also get inspections. Like, these things aren't happening very much. And so it makes it really challenging. Something else that I need to address that I just thought of is that once your offer gets accepted, if you waive the inspection contingency, chances are you're not getting back in the house until you close. So that's kind of that tough pill to swallow. A lot of people want to get in, they want to measure the rooms, they want to measure their furniture for the rooms, they want to kind of get some ideas flowing for like how to set things up, what kind of improvements can you make or whatever. And unfortunately here we don't have that type of luxury where you can get in the house 6 different times. I know I'm talking with an agent out of Tennessee, and literally from the day the offer is accepted until closing, the agent can come and go as they please in and out of that house. And I'm like, that is absurd to me. That's absurd. A seller and a listing agent don't want you going back in the house after offer is accepted, because it's a liability for them. You can just be going into the house looking for things that are wrong, therefore you kill the contract. So really it's a liability for the listing agent and the seller. So why would they do that to themselves? So you got to understand it from their perspective too, and I understand it's kind of crummy for you as a buyer, but that's why we have to do our due diligence up front and basically make sure we're comfortable with the house up front, because chances are you're not getting back in that house. So once you close, congratulations, you're a homeowner in the state of New York, in the Rochester and Finger Lakes region. One of the most beautiful areas that you will ever probably live, unless you're on the coast or something. But there's so much to do here. Then we can get into the conversations of where you need to go out to eat, what things you need to do with the family, what kind of fun activities are here, how to survive the winters, and all this kind of stuff, right? Those are the conversations we can have during the process, and once you get to closing, and we can go out and have a celebratory dinner and meal and drinks or whatever But that is the process in a nutshell. Obviously, that is a quick down and dirty version of it. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the information on the screen. I'm happy to help nights, days, weekends, whatever. I'm here to help you guys. I understand the unique challenges of relocating from a different area, different state or whatever, to this area. It poses unique challenges. I'm very keen to, is that a word? I'm very well aware of those challenges. We are the #1 relocation team in the Rochester and Finger Lakes region. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video just like this one. Until the next video, guys, bye-bye.